Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm Nick, and today I'm going to be talking about the movie The Domestics from 2018. I've watched it last night. I thought I'd give you my thoughts on it. I thought it was a hell of a ride, a really good apocalyptic type movie. On the back here it says it's Mad Max meets The Purge, and I feel like that's almost the perfect analogy for this film. It stars Bosworth and Tyler Hoechlin, and it was directed by Mike P. Nelson, who just recently did the Wrong Turn reboot, which I really enjoyed as well. But to be honest, I might have enjoyed this one even more. These are his only two big releases for full films, not short films, and I think he does a great job on both. But this one, it's very violent, like ultra violent. It doesn't hold back on certain elements, especially its horror elements. So the movie's about this apocalypse that happens because the government tries wiping out the population, the U.S. government, by using these planes that drop this black poison. The problem is it didn't kill everybody. Some people survived. They were immune to it or whatever, but a very small population. Now the states is split up into these different factions, these gangs, and that's real interesting. There's like 6 or 7 different types of gangs here, but we still have very few normal people going around the world just trying to survive, but they keep running into these different factions and ended up in a whole bunch of trouble. So our two main leads in this are trying to get to, they're a married couple obviously, and I think Nina is her name. She is trying to get to her parents' house, which she'd been keeping contact with through the radio, and they live in Milwaukee, and they're in another part of the states right now trying to travel there. Unfortunately, they stop hearing back from them. They radio them, but they won't radio back, so the whole movie you're not sure if their parents are still alive or what has happened to them. And I like that mystery throughout because their whole journey is almost like a road trip movie trying to get there. And every turn they take on this road, they run into some bad people, let me tell you. And yeah, like I said, this movie is ultra violent. It's gory when they have to be. It's not non-stop gory, but if the scene calls for it, you're going to see it, and they'll do whatever they have to do to really sell the scene. And I really appreciate that. They didn't hold anything back. This is a very hard R-rated movie. And aside from the violence, I feel like there's a few things here that this movie gets really good, like gets really right. They really accomplished what they were going for. And one of those things is Nina and Mark, our two main leads. I love the relationship, even though it's very broken. Like the way this movie starts off, we know they're married and whatnot, but we soon learn that they were going through a divorce when all this shit went down. And now they're kind of just staying together to survive, but they don't really love each other anymore. Like the spark's not there anymore. And it makes for a real interesting movie because it's like, do you just stay together with this person and act like you're in love to survive? Or do you still split your own ways, leave, and try to survive on your own and find a new person? Because chances are you're going to run into some bad people and they're going to kill you or use you or whatever, and most likely you're not going to run into another normal person that you'll fall in love with. So it's real interesting ideas put in here, and I think they do a really good job with the relationship aspect. And as the movie goes on, they kind of like surviving with each other, helping each other out in certain situations where they probably wouldn't have without the apocalypse going on. It brought them closer together, and by the end I feel like they rekindled their love. The fire is there again. But the journey getting there is just so interesting to me. The different choices they make. And it's not thrown in your face that they hate each other or whatever. It's a damn train. It always has to be going by when I'm filming. Yeah, their relationship, it feels real to me. Because a lot of it's behind closed doors. Like, even when there's just the two of them, they don't talk very much to each other in that, and you can tell that there's something wrong here. There's something broken. Another thing that this movie does very well is the tension. My God, it's one thing to be violent in that, but sometimes it just doesn't work, it's just trying to be a splatter fest for the sake of it. But this one doesn't really do that. It's always ranking up. It's always cranking up the tension in every scene. Like every 10 minutes it feels like we're in this hair-raising scene where anything can happen. Our leads could all die, and it's very tense. And I love that about this film. And it happens so often, and it stays fresh throughout the entire runtime. There's very few times in this film where the people that we follow feel safe. And that's really what this film does really well. And they're called the domestics. I think these are the people who are more domesticated, because all the gang members in that, they seem more like savages the way they think. In that they see a woman, they see her as an object nowadays. And the factions are real interesting too. They all have their own niche or whatever. Like we got the sheets. They wear sheets over themselves like ghosts, almost like Ghost Bob in Halloween, the original. Yeah, they're all wearing these sheets over them. We get the gamblers, which gamble on your death. Like they're sitting there with snipers and you're going by, they'll spin a wheel with a bunch of skulls and one safety. And if you land on the safety, they'll let you go. Or if you land on a skull, they're going to snipe you out. I thought that was real interesting. And they do a lot more stuff with the gamblers too throughout the film. And it just makes for a real interesting world that they built with all these different factions. I'm sure there's some that we didn't even get into that much. Oh, another one I thought of is the man haters. Like it's only women and they're out to kill all the men. I thought that was really interesting. And we get kind of an arc with a character in the man haters group, which was real cool. And yeah, Mike P. Nelson did an amazing job at building this apocalyptic world. It feels real. It feels believable to me. Some of the factions can be a little bit over the top in like a Mad Max type style. With the way they dress and that, like you see in the picture behind me there, like you see the wolf head on some of them. I believe those were the gamblers. I'm not sure that was wearing that, but they don't all wear those. But like I said, the sheets wear the sheets. You get some people with like spikes on their head and like grills over their face so you can't see their face, and it just looks really cool and really unique. And what a great tagline here: good people didn't survive, they did. I would say our two main leads are fairly good people that have done a little bit of bad things, but overall they're very good compared to almost everybody else in this film. There's a lot of bad people in here and no one can be trusted. It makes for a very paranoia watch. Imagine being in this world and no matter who you run into, you're scared for your life because they all have plans for you. There's even times where the film try to gives you a glimpse of hope. They're like, oh, we're going to do all right now. And obviously there's a twist, there's a turn, and we end up back into a very depraved world. I just want to give a shout out to the horror maestro, Red Rusty. I was going to do it at the starting of the video and I actually forgot, but he actually suggested that I review this film back when I was doing my reviews for the People series, which unfortunately got postponed, canceled. I just don't have time to do the editing and everything for this, but since I gave this a first time watch, I figured I would still give you my thoughts on it in an unedited version of this video. And yeah, I had a blast with it, man. It's definitely a really good film. I give it a 4 stars, 8 out of 10. Highly recommended to anybody who is not afraid of a little bit of gore or violence. It doesn't, like I said, it's not like a Saw 7 or like something where they're just chopping people up nonstop. But we do get some pretty brutal scenes in here. Some great action set pieces too. We don't get a whole lot of like shootouts, but we get a couple and they're done really well. And yeah, just a fantastic film that is highly underrated. Never heard anybody ever talk about this, aside from it being suggested to me. I got it in a horror pack, never heard of it before that, and now I'm going to be starting to recommend this to more and more people because I had a really good time with it. It's sadistic, it's crazy. Yeah, it really does give you the bit of that Purge feeling with all these gangs coming into houses and try to take out everybody or take hostages or whatever. You really do get that vibe, and the Mad Max vibe would be from obviously the post-apocalyptic world and the suits and that everybody's wearing. And the ultra violence, there's quite a bit of violence in the Mad Max movies as well. But guys, I just had a really good time with it. We got great acting, great story, great effects. All around solid film, and I highly suggest you check it out. It's getting a thumbs up from me. So there you have it, guys. There's my little review on The Domestics. More just my thoughts after watching the film for the very first time. Have you guys seen this movie? Let me know down below in the comments. If you haven't, I think you should seek it out. It's definitely worth a watch if you're into this type of sci-fi, horror, futuristic, apocalypse type stuff, because it really worked for me. I had a blast with it, and it was surprisingly way better than I expected it to be, especially it being a fairly unknown movie. I never hear anybody talking about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, thanks for watching.